It's going to be so much fun. We've got a really great interview with Mismatch. Mismatch, let's start out with a question that I think you probably get all the time. Why did you choose the name Mismatch?
Good question. Thank you for asking. The name Sexy Fire Goddess of Doom wouldn't fit on my tax forms.
That is a few much too many characters, so you just had to shorten it down to Mismatch. Is that it?
Yeah.
And that is your superpower. You're a fire starter. You're somebody who can make fire happen. Look at that. Yes, there is no one who starts a fire as well as Mismatch. That's fantastic. So another question that we've got for you, Mismatch, is if you weren't a villain, what would you be?
Bored. No, seriously though, maybe an insurance adjuster.
Yeah.
I already start the fires, so I might as well handle the claims. Talk about job security.
And now I know that you teach a class at Evil Inc. for villains. That for a while you were in charge of making schemes at Evil Inc., but that kind of got in trouble with your current relationship with Captain Heroic. We're going to talk about him in a little bit, but then you started teaching kind of like employee improvement classes at Evil Incorporated. And so you do a lot with training villains. And one thing I always wondered was, what advice do you give to aspiring villains?
Well, dress to impress. Always carry breath mints. Never underestimate the sidekick. Trust me. Sometimes they have the biggest utility belts.
Is that what it is? It's the utility belt. Now, I was always told it wasn't about the size of the batarang.
Well, sometimes it is. And how you use it.
And how you use it. So, and the breath mints, I would imagine, very important because you get a lot of kind of close face-to-face situations with some of these heroes.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's another part of training is that you got to get them to stop monologuing.
Yeah.
They want, have a breath mint, but also when you do your monologuing, I always tell my students, you're not giving a TED talk. You're giving them wait till they're dead, then talk.
That's fantastic. So, what's it like teaching villainy at Evil Incorporated?
It's a lot like teaching kindergarten, really. Finger paints. Nap time, everyone's working on their very first death ray, except the finger paints are a little bit more toxic.
Yeah, just a little bit more toxic than that, what they're dealing with. And we should take a moment to welcome some of our guests. Professor Vesper joined us. Professor Vesper is, I think you will agree with me, is probably one of the picture perfect villain name, don't you think?
That's a great villain name.
Yeah,
I'd love to take him on as a student.
Yeah, Professor, if you're interested, Mismatch does have some openings in her student roles, so you can absolutely join. And John Wigger joining us. John, the creator of a fantastic new an NSFW comic that my Patreon backers are going to get a little surprise from tomorrow. It's called Club Pink Taco. It's about a gentleman's club that serves tacos. And I'm telling you, beautifully drawn, really, really smart humor writing. It's you really got to check it out.
Do they have fish tacos?
That is absolutely, I would imagine, on the menu. Absolutely. I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Who else? Did you say George is here? Is that George as in
George
Egypt?
is here. Yep. George is the creative genius behind Egypts, which you'll see on Substack quite a bit. He's from Scotland.
Yeah, I was going to see if he wanted to hear my Scottish impression.
Oh, you know what? If there's one thing I know 100% about George, he never tires of hearing Americans do Scottish impersonations. Let's hear yours.
All right, I've been working on this all week. Everyone on Evil Inc. wears boots.
That's fantastic. You've been working on that. You can tell you've been working on that.
Yeah.
That's
I've got a lot of time
fantastic.
on my hands.
I know George is going to appreciate that. So again, folks, if you've got questions for Mismatch, we are right now doing a live stream, drumming up a little interest in the Kickstarter for the new Evil Inc. graphic novel. You can check it out at newevilbook.com. We are at about 95% funded. We could very easily hit our funding goal today as we're on the live stream. It is very possible for us to do it. So just another reason to stick around, but we'll go back to the interview questions I prepared. If you've got your own questions for Mismatch, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. And then, so Mismatch, what's the hardest part about training new villains?
The hardest part about training new villains is, like I was saying earlier, getting them to stop monologuing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll come up with monologues that just make no sense. I'm gonna wrap your calendar in aluminum foil. Say I've foiled your plan. Like you don't have to go all out like that.
Yeah.
And
No, it does get a little bit fetishy with these guys with their monologues. They get very much into that. You wonder what's going on. All right. So here's another question that we've got for your class. Do you give homework for a villain class?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Just last week, it was write a ransom note with no emojis. One poor boy, I did end up giving him extra credit. He drew an eggplant from life.
Oh, really? Still life?
Not hardly.
Is it getting hot in here? It's a little bit warm here in Philadelphia. Speaking of, yep, there we go again. Speaking of people with great villain names, let me try this one on for you. Onyx Pyrexia.
Ooh.
Onyx Pyrexia. That sounds like a little fire. Pyrex sounds fiery to me as well.
Stuff.
It's a great villain name. All right, Onyx, we're gonna find out what your superpower is later. Also, not for nothing, T. Preston Squire, perfectly serviceable villain name. If you had to come up with a superpower for T. Preston Squire, what would that supervillain power be?
What? What are you? Waggling eyebrows power?
Yeah. Well, a well-waggled eyebrow can be very, very powerful. Take it from me. I know this for a fact. All right, folks, if you have questions for Mismatch, don't hesitate to put them in at the chat. And Mismatch, I've got another question, something I've always wondered about. We talked about the fact that we were going to come back to your relationship with a superhero, Captain Heroic. It's something I always wondered. You're a villain. He's a hero. How does that relationship even work?
Compromise. He ties me up. I break free. I rob a bank. And then he ties me up again. We call it date night.
And that's compromise, huh?
Yep.
Not bad. And it must use a flammable rope or a burnable rope, right? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's no match.
Well, at this point, I'm going to take a break and go over to the tote board. Let's see if this has had any results on our Kickstarter at this point. Not yet. I'm telling you, I am Mismatch. I am if you've ever heard people talk about the Kickstarter bathtub curve, I am right in the middle of the Kickstarter bathtub curve. It's called that for two reasons. The first reason is that if you put all of your earnings in a 30-day campaign, the biggest chunks would be at the very beginning and at the very end, and they slope down towards the middle. Right now, I'm at that middle part. That's the first reason they call it the bathtub curve. The second reason they call it the bathtub curve is it feels very much like being in a bath with the water up to your nose and wishing for all the world that somebody would throw you a toaster. That's where I am right now. I am in the middle of the bathtub curve. But if you have questions for Mismatch, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. And I've got another question for you about your relationship with the superhero Captain Heroic. What do you two argue about the most?
I hate that he rescues people in the middle of foreplay. It's not like that earthquake in the Himalayas can't wait 30 seconds.
30 seconds. That doesn't sound like a lot of time for foreplay.
I mean, he might be a Superman, but he's still a man.
Well, I'm gonna let that sit right there. I'm making no comments whatsoever that may or may not incriminate me, and go right over to the next question, and that is this. It's a question we all wonder about. Does Captain Heroic talk dirty in bed?
You know, he's actually here.
Oh, is that right?
He's here. Do you want to talk to him about that?
I'd love to talk to him about that.
All right, let me go get him. Hey.
Oh my God. It's
Hey,
Captain
Brad.
Heroic. Oh,
I always dreamed about meeting you, but I didn't think it would be digitally and digitally.
yeah, I get it. Digitally. I got it. That's beautiful. Captain Heroic, it's been my real pleasure to talk to you finally. And how has things been going over in Fairmount City, where you are the city's top superhero? How's things going right now?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty safe.
Good.
Gotta
I'm
admit,
glad
I'm good at what I do.
you are good at what you do. Probably one of the best at what you do. Is there anything that you always, that like people, always wonder about superheroes? Is there something that you want us to know that now you've got a nationwide broadcast of 7? Is there anything you would love the world of 7 people to know?
Hello, 7 people. You're welcome for keeping you safe.
Oh my gosh. Now you have superpowers, including super strength. You can fly, which is very, very important. And you are, to steal a line from the Tick, nigh invulnerable. Is there a superpower that you wish that you did have other than the ones that you had?
Oh man, I love the Tick. Spoon.
That's very good. That's very good. For a minute, I thought he was standing right here in the room with us.
Yeah. He learned everything he knows from me, actually. But I wish I had the power to read women's minds.
Really, you wish you had the power to read women's minds? What kind of advantage do you think that would give you?
Well, then I would know what she's thinking about when we argue about stuff that's totally not even my fault.
It is very difficult to figure out what you've done that is your fault when you're in an argument. I usually just assume that I've done something, and I begin with an apology. Is that a good strategy?
Yup. But then that's not good enough either.
No, often it's not. This is a great opportunity, by the way. If anyone has questions for Captain Heroic, we were not planning on this. I did not know Captain Heroic was going to show up. So if you've got questions for Captain Heroic, here's another one I've always wondered. Out of the different superheroes that you've teamed up with, over at Justice Limited, there's Wingman, of course. There's Elastic Man. There's Phenomenal Lass, and there's Amazing Amazon, among several more. Who's your favorite that you really look forward to being teamed up with?
Well, I love working with Wingman. He's my best bud.
Yeah.
But Amazing Amazon, I think Amazon likes me.
Oh, is that right? You think there might be a little spark there?
She said something like that last book.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, she did. She absolutely did. Do you think that might cause a little bit of friction between you and Mismatch?
Maybe, but we all know it ends up with mismatrimony.
Yeah. She's gonna come up on top one way or the other.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Oh, please.
In the new book, is there lots of after dark?
There is, not only is there a lot of After Dark, there's one story at the end that is just all After Dark. This is kind of an interesting thing, not for nothing. I'm just realizing I don't know how much I've talked about this. And that is, this is the first time that I really kind of melded Evil Inc. and Evil Inc. After Dark as I was writing them. A lot of times I would do an Evil Inc. story and then put some After Dark in at the end. And this time I was actually, as I was writing it, planning on shooting the story back and forth between Evil Inc. and After Dark. So this book that's coming out is really the first proof of concept of something I've been working on for a long time, trying to get the chemistry just right. And the first story, there's actually a couple of After Dark moments. And then the second and third, it's a real good balance. And then just because I wrote this great story about a couple of superheroes that are trying to start their family, and they get a little help from the other superheroes, and it is just complete it's complete NSFW from start to finish, but it's a really, really fun story that I'm kind of excited to get in there. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you asked me that, as a matter of fact, because I don't know how much I've really talked about that aspect. But yeah, this is, I see some smoke. Is everything okay over there? I see some smoke happening.
Wait a minute. Paparazzi. Don't look. After the stream, okay?
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that a puppet gets handsy. What? I got to break character just for a second. How did you make the smoke happen? That was amazing.
Oh no, smoke and mirrors. Huh?
So you're not gonna divulge. All right.
No, you just have to be entertained with the puppet show.
Oh, I was totally entertained by that. All right, we'll go back to the interview questions we've got prepared. Mismatch, does Evil Inc. have an HR department?
Yeah, it's actually superhuman resources.
Yeah.
When we file a disciplinary report, it comes with a ball gag.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Now, do they have a safe word?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? What is it?
Wonder Twin Powers?
I'm a huge fan of the Super Friends.
The what now?
So, newevilbook.com, we are right on the cusp of hitting our goal for this book. We are, I think, at 95%. I am just taking a second to roll the tote board. We are still at 95%. If anybody's got a toaster.
If you don't mind, I actually need to take a break and do my stretches.
Oh,
you want to tell them what'll happen when you hit 100%.
Go, absolutely. If you need to do your stretches, go ahead. I don't want to interfere with that. Speaking of stretches, we do have some great stretch goals once we do meet that goal. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I'm putting together into packages, including other After Dark stories. There is a Halloween ebook coming up it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So we're going to be hopefully adding a little bit to that and making that a stretch goal. And I've been experimenting with writing stories, not necessarily comics, but just actual prose stories for my Patreon backers. And that has become really kind of an interesting aspect of what I'm doing on Patreon at patreon.com/Geiger. So I might, I'm looking at, if we get that far, putting a package together of all the best flash fictions that I've done there and putting that up as a stretch goal. So
you're pros at prose.
Well, I'm not quite there yet, but I have been having I've got to be honest with you, as somebody who's done comics all of his life, I've really kind of started to have fun with just writing like a story and not relying on the images, but just using words to try and get that stuff across. It's been really, really interesting. It sounds kind of silly, especially on Substack where it's all writers. But it's been really kind of fun to do, and my Patreon backers have been responding positively. So it's been a good thing. So we are here, obviously, to promote the new Kickstarter for Evil Inc. After Dark. It's over at newevilbook.com. If you've got questions for the fantastic Mismatch, please don't hesitate to put them down in the chat. And I've got a couple more questions for you. Mismatch, do supervillains ever face legal action?
Oh, yeah. All the time. You know what
Yeah.
they say. With great power comes great liability.
So you must have lawyers on retainer?
Dude, they're
Yeah.
so cute. They plead.
You mean in court? And I have in my hand the last question for Mismatch. It's been so nice talking to you. I got to tell you, how do your coworkers, this is something we get asked all the time, I'm sure, at Evil Inc. How do your coworkers feel about you dating a hero?
They say that they're fine, but sometimes I walk into the office, Desi starts humming the Superman theme. Passive aggressive much.
Yeah.
So then I do a few lines from Bonnie Taylor. So I'm putting out for a hero till the end of the night.
I think that's holding out for a hero that you mean.
Not the way I sing it.
My friends, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, welcome, please, the great Eerie Rottica, burlesque star and local legend. Thank you so much for joining us as Mismatch. If anybody has a question for you, either as Mismatch or as somebody who is a burlesque performer, don't hesitate to put it down in the chat. But the first thing I got to do, Eerie, I'm going to let you break character just for a second. You were performing a couple weeks ago as Desi. You had body paint all over, and you said you were heading out to a bachelorette party that night. You were performing at a bachelorette party. How did that go?
It went great. It was really good. This is that we had to act like, oh, this is just normal for us. They said, oh, we didn't know if we were going to have the dressing room be the pool house or the pool guest house. I'm like, oh.
So this was someplace that obviously was fairly affluent, had a certain amount of,
Yep, I did well.
I hope you charged them double. That's fantastic. And then I mean, I don't obviously want you to perform, but like, how many numbers do you do? What is that like? Describe the scene for me, because I'm fascinated by this.
So that was a strange situation for the bachelorette party. I actually performed 3 times, and I also was the MC and the sound guy and stage kitten.
Oh my God. So it was just you there doing everything.
Me and one other performer. So we announced each other and we picked up for each other, and then we hit play on the thing. But so we did 2 numbers each for an earlier set around like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then we each did one more act around 8 o'clock when more people arrived, and it was outside in the grass. Then my shoes were sinking into the grass, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm barefoot.
Yeah. You've got, well, I would imagine, because you're used to being on stage, you had to probably be very like versatile at that point and just be like, okay, I'm going to make some of this up as I go along.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's been said that I'm flexible.
Do you think you'd ever do something like that again? Was it fun? Before I go into that, older a crowd or younger crowd?
Like 40s. So
okay,
younger, but not too young. I don't.
Right.
The Gen Z that's like coming into adult spaces right now is horrible. I don't like it. But my crowd at shows in general is older, and that's what I prefer.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you and I are cut from the same cloth. I've had this talk before, but sometimes I'll hear somebody say in comics, they'll say, I've got a gray audience. My audience is older. And I'm like, I've got a gray audience too. And I love it. It's fantastic. They've got spending money. They know what they want. They know how to get what they want. It's really kind of a good thing. Now, when you do burlesque performances, over there in upstate New York, do you often see younger people like Gen Z and so forth come in and maybe not know how to handle what they're seeing on stage?
Just here and there, just like big events that they're like, they don't really know what they signed up for. My stuff is so niche that
Yeah.
they're not going to just like stumble into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially like there's like some like drag clubs that are for 18 plus.
Right.
Hate that. But
why do you hate that?
Because they're kids. So I had one woman for A Crown of Bones message me and asked if she could bring her 16-year-old daughter.
Oh.
And of course I said no. I'm like, not only because like I get it, because like when I was a kid I would have loved this stuff.
Right.
I get that.
And there are very mature 16-year-olds. There's very immature 25-year-olds, right?
Sure.
I get that.
Besides like the law and like them not being able to come into the bar, I'm like, I don't want to expose myself. Like, you should be happy that I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, there's a legal liability there. I'm sure that you're opening yourself to all kinds of trouble if you're not very careful about who you let in the doors. How long have you been doing this? Because you seem to have this really like on lockdown. You really know your stuff. How long have you been performing as a burlesque performer?
10 years. Got
wow.
Decade.
That's amazing. What was that first time like? Your heart had to have been up in your throat. The first time you had to step out there when the music's going. What was that like?
The first one was, actually, I told you about this once. I was a stage kitten and performing. So I went and did my first act and then I came back out and cleaned it up. And I had a little line of like, guess I got to clean up my act.
And I guarantee you got a great response from that line.
Oh yeah, I like to go for the laughs.
Yeah, well, I can tell. And the I gotta say, I am absolutely floored that you made your own Captain Heroic puppet for that bit in the middle.
Let me get
is amazing. Yeah, go get Captain Heroic. I want to see that again. You got the details exactly right.
I think he hit a brick wall. Lots of brick walls.
So newevilbook.com. The Kickstarter is officially at its halfway point. I think we've got 15 days to go.
Did you say newevilbook.com?
Newevilbook.com. You go, you put that in, it'll take you right over to the Kickstarter. You really did an amazing job with that. I'm so touched that that had to have been hours of work that you did to make that happen.
Do you want it?
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no. How much?
I'm kidding. But I blew him.
Oh no!
So blew from his hands right down his face. So I tried to cover it up.
And right now, all of the Arrested Development fans are having their Tobias moment.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now you've done puppets in your act before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, especially during the pandemic when we switched to virtual shows, digital stuff like this.
Yeah.
I basically had a dirty puppet show. I never intended that, but it felt right. Yeah.
By the way, the wordplay for puppet in felt right is absolutely. I got to know, did you plan that or are you just naturally good at this?
No, I guess I'm just naturally good at that. This is made out of felt too. And I was gonna work that into like, oh, that's felt. Saying not yet.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That I gotta say, when I saw that, my jaw dropped. That was amazing.
So that was the curveball I was warning you about.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
And the cape was hard because I kept losing it because it's the same shade of gray as my couch.
Oh. We've had this discussion. That is a blue couch. I'm telling you.
Not colorblind.
Do you have any performances coming up? Are you working on anything other than obviously what you've been working on the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about this because calm down over here. So I was actually just thinking about this 'cause I was so busy in August and I'm so busy in October.
Yeah.
But I only have a little bit to do in September, so it really worked out so I can do this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. This was a real popular video when I posted it on YouTube. It's been fantastic. What's going on in August? Please tell me you've got some Halloween themed burlesque coming up.
Oh yeah. So I am booked every week in October.
Really?
I have no breaks. I'm making a Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I was commissioned to do like a mini burlesque show, but to start out Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wow.
Which will be really cool. I love Rocky Horror.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And all of this is going on in the Syracuse area. Is that correct?
I travel around. It's all within like a 3-hour radius.
So upstate New York, we can say, if we were pointing somebody to a direction. And if anybody wanted to find out about these, I know they can follow you here on Substack at Eerie Rottica. They should be able to tap something on their screen to see you and your Substack. You do make those announcements on that newsletter?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I can make a note about all the upcoming places to catch me.
Yeah. Yeah, you should absolutely be subscribing and following Eerie Rottica on Substack. That's something that took me the longest time to figure out, is that if I subscribe, I see your newsletter, but if I follow you, I see your notes. And for the first month and a half of my work on Substack, I didn't have the foggiest idea the difference between a subscription and a follow. It just was opaque to me. But you should be doing both. Follow and subscribe Eerie Rottica. Find out everything that's going on in the world of burlesque. And some really fantastic writing on the intersection between burlesque and comics, which I never fail to get interest in. So after Halloween, I can't imagine do you do Thanksgiving, I can't imagine being a big burlesque, but I could see Christmas being kind of like Santa themed winter wonderland burlesque going on. Please tell me that's happening.
Yeah, I don't have any shows booked right now, but I have a bunch of holiday acts.
Yeah.
Like I have one of like a Christmas tree angel that's upset about the tree that's up her butt.
I actually did a cartoon like that for my Patreon backers where he's putting the angel on the tree and the angel has this, Ahiago's face on and says, slower, slower.
That's great.
I love that your mind works like that. You're just as much of a degenerate as I am. I love this.
Yeah, like you said, cut of the same cloth.
Oh my God.
I wanted to talk about this too, this boa.
Yeah.
So this I got as a tribute to the best writer in history.
Who's that?
Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
So it's for my Fahrenheit 451 act when I'm a firefighter.
You got a Fahrenheit 451 act? Are you serious? Or are you making this up right now?
No, I'm serious. That's what this is for. When I'm a firefighter.
Oh my God.
And I burn some books.
That's amazing. Where do you get these ideas for burlesque acts? I mean, are you literally, does something happen? You see something on the street, like you're watching Stranger Things and you're like, I could take my clothes off to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as people ask you, where do you get your ideas from? It's everywhere, but mostly I'm a genius.
I think you might be right about that. I think you're a genius because I would have never in a million years thought to come up with a Fahrenheit 451 burlesque show.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. You said it last time. I'll finger anything with a pulse. That's what you said.
If anyone has any questions for burlesque performer Eerie Rottica, we are here for a little bit longer. We've got about 15 minutes or so yet to go. But if you've got questions, don't hesitate to put them down there in the chat. We love having questions from folks. And if you haven't picked up your copy of the new Evil Inc. After Dark book, Evil Inc. After Dark, full stream ahead. It is fantastic. You're going to love it so much. The printing on these things have always turned out super nice. I always go for the glossy pages, so the color by Alex Heberling really pops off those pages. I'm super excited to get that into your hands. And we are probably right on track to hitting our goal within the next couple of days here. So going to be, once we get that out of the way, then we can talk about stretch goals and everything else like that. That is fantastic. I love that puppet so much. I swear to God. That was, by the way, are you familiar with a TV series called Too Close for Comfort?
No.
It had the great Ted Knight in it. That, okay, Caddyshack fan? Maybe a little bit. Did you ever see the movie Caddyshack?
Mm-hmm.
He played the grumpy judge with the white hair, right? That had the hat that Dangerfield was making fun of. But it looks good on you. That's Ted Knight.
Oh, that was a good impression.
That's the one I can do. Everybody can do Dangerfield and John Wayne. But there was he had a TV series. He had I just found out he had a couple of TV series after the Mary Tyler Moore Show. The one was he was a cartoonist, and it was one of the few TV series, Bob Newhart being the other, where the cartoonist was the central character. He had a puppet called Cosmic Cow, and the puppet was his cartoon character. He did a comic strip, and so he would draw the comic strip and talk to his puppet. And I was maybe 10 years old, 12 years old at that point. I assumed at that point that every cartoonist had to have a puppet. And that's how they draw. They would talk to their puppet would give them the punchlines, and then they would draw. And
that's how it works.
I was completely bamboozled by Ted Knight. And it's really good that I stopped at that TV series, because later on, this might have been either before my time. This had to have been before my time, because Too Close for Comfort was 80s. This had to have been in the 70s. The Ted Knight Show had a completely different concept. You will never in a million years guess his occupation in this situation comedy. He ran an escort agency.
Oh.
And the sitcom was him, his booker, who was kind of like posed as the traditional madam from an establishment, and all of the employees that worked for him as escorts. This was in the 1970s. This was family entertainment in the 1970s. I can't ever explain it to my kids how screwed up we were between the leaded gasoline and things like the Ted Knight Show. How completely screwed up we were having a childhood in the 70s. This was amazing.
Land.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So in terms of burlesque, if I really wanted to get in, because I do love the history of burlesque, primarily my entrance to it, because again, I had a screwed up childhood. My entrance to it was through the comedians that kind of cut their teeth like Red Buttons and so forth on burlesque stages. They would come out, and I would imagine it's the best way to really refine your comedy skills, because you've got to go out and tell jokes to a bunch of people who want you to get off stage as fast as possible. So the real reason that they're there, it finally gets out on stage. If I wanted to get into the history of burlesque, who are some performers who I need to learn about?
Oh man. Well, there's lots of great documentaries that you could watch.
Yeah,
I'm kind of blanking on some
that's okay.
names right now, but of course there's Sally Rand, Josephine Baker, um, basically anyone that was like getting arrested for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was the same era as Lenny Bruce, getting arrested for obscenity on stage. Just an amazing time. If you ever get, just for our listeners at home, if you ever get a chance to read the Lenny Bruce biography, it is fantastic. And it talks about how all these guys were contemporary. Carlin, Rickles, all these folks were all trying to figure out how to do edgy stuff. Mort Saul, another one of them, without getting arrested on stage. It was amazing. In terms of your contemporaries, people who are doing burlesque today, is there any performers that you're like, oh my gosh, there's a person that makes me want to be a better performer?
Oh, actually, so I had, like I said, I had most of the stuff for this costume,
Yeah.
but I didn't have orange gloves. I have 50 shades of red, but no orange. So I borrowed these from a performer, first name D, last name Lightful, Delightful.
Uh-huh.
And I actually wanted to talk to you about this because as like a newcomer that I've like come into this comic space,
Yeah.
I can immediately sniff out who is under the influence of Brad Geiger based on how frequently they use the word delightful. So what's the story there? What's the delightfulness?
I'll be honest with you. That is, speaking of being influenced by people. I do a podcast with my friend Dave Kellett, and he uses delightful an awful lot. And one of the reasons that I like using delightful is that you don't expect a older looking white guy like me to be using a word like delightful, right? It's not a word that you hear from people our generation a whole lot, but it's so wonderfully descriptive, and it has a very distinct flavor in what you are talking about, that I just found out that I was using it more and more just because I liked its descriptiveness. And also I like the fact that when I say, especially if I'm talking to somebody, I can tell on their face, they don't expect this guy to use a word like delightful, right?
Does it delight them?
It does. It does.
It does.
And it takes anything that takes somebody back a little bit in a conversation is a good thing, because then all kinds of things happen when they let their guard down, and when they're like, oh, this guy is, maybe he's not completely what I thought he was going to be. Then interesting things happen in a conversation. And in the very few instances of times where I actually want to be in a conversation, usually I'm heading the other way, letting my wife do all the talking. I'm not a huge conversationalist, but every now and again, you can throw a word like that in. I'll tell you another one that I used more and more when I saw people react to it. And I've got two sons, and they're grown now. They're in college. One graduated out of college. But when they were little, when they were in elementary school and middle school, I would refer to them as either sweetie or sweetheart an awful lot. All right, sweetie, calm down over there. That kind of thing, right? And other dads on the playground would be like, did you just call your son sweetie? I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. He's not a sweetie. I'm like, he's a very sweet kid. What are you talking about? This is the sweetest kid I've ever seen. What's your problem with that? And I would just like every now and again throwing that in just to see the reaction that I would get. People have a preconceived notion of our vocabulary. And when you start throwing other words in, it's really fun to see what happens. So delightful, it just became one of those words. It was one of the many ways that I was influenced by Dave Kellett, who is a really, really, speaking of people who use language in an interesting way, Kellett is a very fun one to watch, not only in what he says, like on the podcast, but in terms of his comic, Sheldon, he uses language really interestingly to make comedy happen in a short form comic. Really neat stuff.
Yeah.
I learned tons of stuff just reading how he writes a punchline.
Yeah, I am a fan of Sheldon. Yeah, maybe next time I'll show you my Arthur costume. Kidding.
Oh man, the mental image that conjured in my head was amazing. You could do I don't know how much you listen to the podcast, and it's okay if you don't. But Dave, when it comes to anything that's a little bit adult, is very. It makes him blush.
He gets as red as Desi.
Yeah. He, if not redder. And the idea of pitching him a Sheldon-based burlesque performance where you come out as Arthur and just start peeling off feathers, I'm telling you, it would probably put him through the floor.
He would hate that.
Yes. Oh, he would hate it, but I would love it. And then just flash his comic behind on the screen. I think, we might put that guy in the hospital. I think that would be amazing. A couple people joining us. Michael's joining us. Edison is joining us. We are just nearly wrapping up, folks, but if you have any questions for the great burlesque performer, Eerie Rottica, don't hesitate to drop those in the chat. We are live streaming right now to help promote the Kickstarter for my book. You can check it out at newevilbook.com. It should be in the chat if you click on it and scroll up. But in the last 10 minutes or so, if you've got a question for Eerie, don't hesitate to put it in the chat.
Or for Mismatch.
Or for Mismatch, a question for the Evil Inc. supervillain Mismatch. Looking at that, I might have to start bedazzling Mismatch's insignia.
Yeah, see, I knew that you wouldn't like that, but it's my culture.
I didn't say I didn't like that. I said that was an interesting look. The only reason I'm not going to do it is that's way too much detail.
Yeah, but it's good for like the shininess, you know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'll just look like felt. Right.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I'm not touching that one at all. That's twice I'm not touching felt. So Eerie Rottica, the greatest burlesque performer, in my opinion.
Wow. Can I put that on my resume?
You can. I'll tell you, I will. You can quote me anytime you need a quote. You know I'm very verbose. I will absolutely quote that. Onyx is agreeing. Onyx Pyrexia. Onyx, you still haven't told us what your superpower is. You've had almost an hour to think about this, Onyx. Now I'm going to put you on the spot because I think we challenged you for a superpower. Justin's Dailies also joining us. I love it, by the way. Later on, I'm going to look at the video of this and see how many times you get a close up of my forehead when I lean in to see. Look at this. Eerie, do you read what I read over there? Onyx says, my superpower is charm. Do you know they asked, by the way, brilliant Onyx, because they asked Stan Lee a long time ago, out of all the superpowers you've written or co-written, if you get into the history, out of all the superpowers, what is the most for Christ's sake, now Dave Kellett. Now Dave is trying to FaceTime. I wonder if I could even do that and have both of us over here. Nah, I won't do that to him. Although I would love to pitch the Arthur thing. Yeah. My God. But they asked Stan Lee, they said, what's the most powerful superpower? Do you know what he said? It was not that far apart from charm. It was good luck. He said, if you've got good luck, you can pull anything off. You can make anything happen. Which I thought was kind of an interesting. Everybody expects, mind control and stuff like that. He said, no, all it takes is luck.
And you can create your own luck.
That's right. Especially if you are Stan Lee, or if you are right now looking to get in on a Kickstarter for a great book, you can create your own luck over at newevilbook.com. Eerie, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough. The amount of time and effort that you put into this floors me. I can't thank you enough.
It was fun.
I am the master of all transitions. It became a thing several episodes ago at Comic Lab, where when we'd be winding down the show, I'd find something that Dave would say and then transition into the closing script that we have. And I'm telling you, I have now mastered the transition. I can do it almost any topic. I can come up with a way to close out a show. Give me a topic and I'll close out this live stream. I'll show you how great I am at transitions. Just any topic.
Well, here, I got a little phrase, actually, because I do listen to the podcast, and I know that Dave Kellett said that dance is the most useless art form. So I remember that, and I'm his nemesis, and he doesn't know that I'm coming for him.
Oh, no. So, oh, no. You know what? You know what that means? That for Dave Kellett, the end is near. It's just like the end is here for this live stream. I've been joined once again. See what I mean? I mean, it's such a beautiful transition. Good. I'm so good. Eerie, if you're not following Eerie Rottica and subscribing to Eerie's amazing newsletter, you are absolutely taking joy out of your life. Why do you want a joyless life? I don't know why. You're doing it to yourself by not following and subscribing to Eerie Rottica. You can click something on your screen, I guarantee it, and make that happen right now. And while you're in the screen clicking mood, don't forget to go over to newevilbook.com, where you can still jump in. You can help me ease my way out of the bathtub curve. You can do that by going over to newevilbook.com, and then when we're closer to the end of this Kickstarter, you'll see me smile again. But until then, Eerie, honestly, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. Thank you for your time and your talent.
Newevilbook.com.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.